Small businesses here who can't get loans from SBA? Is that?
Well, I just wanted to share with an article that was in today's paper, and I was actually at the Saipan Chamber meeting last week where Secretary of Commerce Michael Agda was speaking about the status of the Small Business Administration. And this is a program that seeks to try and encourage local business owners, such as myself or anyone else who calls Saipan home to start a business here in the CNMI. And what happens is the federal government has this program where it has millions of dollars literally that it wants to give to people as a loan to encourage them to start up a business. Unfortunately, and this is something Secretary Ada pointed out, is that because Article 12 is there, banks are not willing to assume or to give out that loan. Even if the federal government goes as far as guaranteeing 90%, banks are still not willing to do it because that remaining 10% is something that they're worried about. And the remaining the reason why they're worried is because of Article 12. Article 12 is going to prohibit the banks from freely going and being able to sell the property or go after the full value of the property due to Article 12. Even the banks know the business about a buyer's market. The bank knows that if you have this product that's worth $20 and there's nobody around who's willing, who needs to pay the $20 or can pay the $20, then it's not really worth $20, even if you have an appraisal that says $20. So, again, this goes back to Article 12 affecting just the local economy here in the Marianas.
Yeah, and it is true, that things have slowed down so considerably. Revenue went from $256 million here for the local government down to 132, which speaks volumes of how far down we have gone. And unless we open ourselves up a little bit, nothing's going to happen. Yeah. We end up committing suicide slowly. Now, there's something else that you mentioned about NMHC, about a $9 million loan or balance?
We spoke with some people from NMHC, and this is something that Alex was mentioning before, how in previous years the government was able to guarantee banks that were issued out through NMHC, even if it was at a 9% interest rate. The problem now is that when we say the government's going to guarantee, it's basically the taxpayers. It's basically you, me, you, and you, the taxpayer. Right now, I believe that it's the default rate has cost the NMHC over $7 to $9 million of foreclosed mortgages that they had to basically go to the bank as a guarantor. It's like, here's the $7 to $9 million. That's $7 to $9 million of our taxpayer money. And there's going to be very little chance for the government to realize or to collect back even on that land. Because now you look in the newspapers and week after week, NMHC has always got these foreclosure mortgages of notices of sale. But again, you got that artificial ceiling, that fixed number of potential buyers. If you got a piece of land that's worth $60,000, $100,000 because it has a 3-bedroom house on it, what incentive do I have to pay the actual fair value for that when I know that there's nobody else around with that kind of money and I happen to have $30,000? And so NMHC is not in a position, it's either take $30,000 or take nothing. And so they need to do whatever they can to minimize their exposure through the guarantees. And so again, that's additional money that the taxpayers have to absorb because you have such a huge difficulty in trying to sell land that's been foreclosed and guaranteed by the bank that we're basically stuck again subsidizing other people's losses.
No, just very quickly, we have spoken in previous sessions on why this 25-year period on Article 12, and that is to protect CNMI land from external exploitation. A new creature has emerged, and I think we like to call it internal exploitation. Something that you folks would like to share your views on and what is happening, and as a result of this prohibitive nature, of Article 12.
Well, I mean, that really just goes back to, you know, what we're seeing about this fixed market and these fixed number of buyers. Because, and I want to go back to this, to my example. Article 12 was told me to make sure, or is there to protect me from an outsider coming in and saying, I'll buy your book for $2, or I'll buy your book for $10. Okay, that's, thank you, Article 12, for protecting me from some outsider coming in and taking me because I needed the money. But what's happening now is that you guys get to take advantage of me because you know that I need the money, and you know that you can basically determine what it is that you want to pay for it. So that's what's happening now with a lot of land, is that you have people who are in very unfortunate circumstances.
Those with lease properties.
With lease properties. I leased my property to a Japanese for 55 years, and back then they paid me $1 million. But because it was so new, I've blown through my $1 million, and now I have nothing. And that's, unfortunately, that's the case with a lot of what happened, and that's why we had Article 12. But what's going on now is now I need more money. Now I need to go and get surgery. So who can in today's market, who can give me money, or who else can? I can't lease it again because it's already leased. All I can do is now actually sell the title, the fee simple title. And what's going on is that you have a lot of people who are in a very advantageous position that they have money in their pockets. They go around and say, you know what?
This is indigenous people now.
Yeah, this is indigenous people. This is like, you got a nice piece of property. I understand you need some help. Let me help you, and I'll give you $10,000.
More.
$10,000, or even $30,000. And we're talking about for a piece of land that has $1 million house on it. Is that fair? Is that really what Article 12 was meant to protect? That's a question for each one of us that has to really take a look at ourselves. We're so busy trying to protect ourselves and put up this wall against outsiders that we don't really realize that there's someone in our own house that's taking money out of our pocket, and that's just very unfortunate.
And the last point I want to make, Okudan, is
Sure.
In my example, my interest is not to sell my property. My interest is never to sell my property. My interest is to give my property on to my offspring, my children. In my example, what I wanted to have is access to good credit, to opportunities that are made available across the United States and every other territory except the Northern Marianas and American Samoa. That opportunity is access to good credit, whether I wanted it for my medical reasons with my wife, or for college education for my children, or for opportunities to improve my home over time. Good credit is not available. As Vince has laid out, good credit is not available for business opportunities. We want the opportunities open for those individuals that don't want to sell land but want to have access to the opportunities that all Americans have across the United States.
Let me close out by trying to explain this in Chamorro. Este último na asunto fanyelos ni pagun diskuti Vince and si Alex. Guahan may ma fanyogu na gagane ni ina fuerza sa este artículo 12. Okay, si Vince por ejemplo guatano na na marquila for 55 years. 15 años después matalog na marquila for $1 million. 15